of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, we thank you for coming out this beautiful August night to our board meeting. We are being videotaped and live streamed on Facebook. We're going to start with the approval of the minutes. Carrie?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the minutes of July 6, 2017 reorganization regular meeting and the August 3, 2017 workshop special meeting as submitted.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now, the superintendent's report.
No, we can remain this evening. There's no PowerPoint. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome as we prepare to begin the 2017-18 school year. This is an exciting time of year for numerous reasons. We were informed by New York State that, again, our high school is once again a reward school. We're notified that all of our schools are in good standing. Special point, we have 7 students who are eligible to be named National Merit Semifinalists. These students are among the 50,000 highest scores on the PSAT exam out of the 1.5 million who took the test. Of the 50,000, only 16,000 will be named National Merit Semifinalists. So we should find out next month. That's exciting news. You're happy to get 3 in your district. If we get 7, that would be absolutely amazing. We're entering our 3rd year of full-day kindergarten. I was just speaking to one of our guests this evening about that. And the Columbia Writing Program. When we added those to the budget a few years ago, we referred to them as the foundation of Mount Sinai students' education. While building this foundation, we have also noticed we needed more support along with this, the reading and the writing part. In reading, we need some more support and bolstering. We've identified some needs there. So what we've done already this summer, we've trained special ed teachers and AIS reading teachers in the Orton-Gillingham approach, which is a technique that's successful with very challenged reading learners. And what we have next Tuesday, our teachers are being trained K through 8 in Fontes and Pinnell, which is a well-respected and widely used program to determine where a student's reading level is, so you can chart them throughout the year and inform our parents of their students' growth. And then, beginning in the fall, we have our teachers enrolled in the Wilson Reading Program. So with those 3 trainings, we're moving in the right direction. It gives our teachers more tools to work with our students who are challenged in that area. And this summer, thanks to the board's support, we also hired a reading teacher who is a literacy expert, who's capable of working with and coaching our teachers and using how to use this new material that they've gained. We've also hired a new principal, as you know, who's also fluent in literacy. And in addition to his strengths in literacy, he's training the Columbia Writing Program, so that works also. And he's also in the city been a teacher math coach. So we're excited about him working with our teachers, leading them in math and literacy. Also exciting this year, other than the elementary level, we have the addition of 3 electives in the high school. Last November, Larry Roberts, our Director of Music and Associated Arts, presented right here in this room about the Virtual Enterprise course, which many districts have and is very successful with many students. Virtual Enterprise is beginning this fall. Our teacher was trained over the summer. We also have a college accounting course that is well enrolled with 26 students, and that's tied to CW Post. The VE course was attached to Farmingdale University, which, by the way, a student can earn 3 college credits for $150. And obviously, in these courses offer the potential of earning 6 credits. So that's $300 for 6 credits. Post, as you would suspect, is a little higher, $250 for 3 credits. And finally, we have college culinary, which is tied to Cobleskill, SUNY Cobleskill. Same price, $150 for 3 credits, and it was so subscribed with almost 40 students, we had to open 2 sections without additional cost to the district. So we have 3 additional electives at the high school that will be very exciting to watch. And we feel good about all of that. I'm sure you know, a lot of you know about tomorrow with orientations for our students. In the morning, we have kindergarten from 9:45 and 10:45, 2 programs, middle school 9 to 9:30, 10 to 10:30, and the high school is 8 to 9. So it's very busy. I talked about the excitement, but I didn't even mention what the athletic program and music program brings to this district. So it should be an exciting and busy year at the same time. And that's my address.
Thank you. Thanks, Gordon. Now we have our 15-minute community question period. If you would like to ask something that relates to our agenda that you've all picked up at front, now would be the time where you can speak to that. Does anybody have a question on the agenda? Yes, hi.
I have a question, actually two.
Okay.
One relates to what the superintendent just spoke about. The other, I'm not sure if it's going to relate to your agenda or not, so I'll start with my first. I'm just wondering if the OG training that you talked about for the elementary school, you could be bringing that into the middle school as well?
Yes, the training and the program next week on Spinell's K through 8, and the training that over the summer was K through 6. So although they're in the middle school 5 and 6, we consider them elementary.
Right, okay, and so for...
So you'll have an literacy expert I spoke about will be split between the elementary and the middle school. And the new thing that we're focusing on is constant communication and meeting between the elementary school principal and the middle school principal, and collaborating and aligning the curriculum. And that particularly involves reading. So they don't leave the elementary and go to a different system in the middle school.
Sure, that's excellent. Incoming semester is your dyslexia, so that's exciting to me that we'll have that opportunity for him here. My other question, I'm not sure if it relates necessarily to the agenda this time, but in regard to your PowerPoint presentation last time on the Regents exams, I'm just wondering if we've come up with a number for the mastery rate. I know you have a pass rate, but I'm looking for the mastery rate, particularly
Yeah,
for
we will have a presentation and probably the next board meeting or the meeting after with all of that. Some of that we weren't at liberty to report because it was still, the state didn't want you to expose everything, but we'll put on the master rates as well as the pass-fail rates for you, compare it to surrounding districts, as well as the assessment scores.
Right, so I understand that I've been speaking with Mr. Grable, and I understand that there's some communication and the committee being formed. I still have a lot of questions in regard to that, so you're saying you're going to address that again in another board meeting?
Absolutely be dedicated to the results of the regions and state assessments and ELA and that. Some are still embargoed by the state. You have to wait for them to green light, bringing all of it out.
Sure.
And then, especially when you want to compare to our neighbors, you have to wait until they say you're able to do that.
Right. And as far as comparing to our neighbors with the percentage that we count the Regents exam towards our final class grades, are you still in communication about that as well?
Class grades.
The final course grades, like how the Regents...
Are you referring again to the percentage of the regions?
I am, yes.
Yes, I'm very aware of what they count. And as a matter of fact, we've addressed that. I presented that. You saw it on the PowerPoint. But also, we're having a teacher-parent committee the first or second week of school. Some of the parents were very energetic about inquiring about the 20% rate, are on that committee, and teachers are on it, and administrators as well.
Okay.
So it's been brought up in many districts. For example, Rocky Point, the determining factor that Mike Ring, the superintendent there, used was the teachers. What they decided in their committee is what the district would go with. You have to remember, APPR, Teacher Evaluators every year, is based on their Regents results of the kids.
Is it based on the Regents?
50% of it.
But is it the pass rate that they're evaluated on?
It is,
Right, so,
but still, it's 50% of their, and the principals are also rated on it, and so is the district.
right. I'm just far more concerned with the mastery rate than I am the pass rate.
Yeah, every year we're interested in the mastery rates, so
Sure.
we try to boost them.
Right. Yeah,
So-
see, it seems to me like there's a disconnect between the performance, the mastery of the Regents exam and the way the students are performing in the classroom. So I'm just wondering, I'm sure with the change in the curriculum, it's partly a matter of the curriculum catching up.
Well, if you're referring specifically to the geometry readers, that was an anomaly. And I posted a letter that I co-signed from the Nassau and Suffolk Superintendents Association to the state. It was done statewide. That test was a disaster.
It was awful.
Although we had an 86% passing rate on that.
Right, but again, the past.
But compared to many districts, that's much better.
Right. I understand that, but to me, my concern is much more with the kids who are doing very well in the class, but not making mastery on the exam. I'm not so concerned with, the pass rate is wonderful, but that's just, to me, I'm curious, what's the mastery rate?
Right. All of that will be presented in
That's
public.
right.
And then my only last question about the geometry regions is, I had heard that the state agreed on that third question to give points back.
They did.
We weren't notified about that?
It's,
As parents of students who
I
took
believe it
that?
is in the letter and the communication I have on Facebook and on the website.
That,
They changed it, it raised us from 83 to 86%.
so at this point, my child's grade has been changed, and I'm just not aware that his grade would have been changed by?
Well, you could inquire at the high school about that.
Okay.
I would.
Okay. Okay, great. I
Okay.
appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
And that night when we present, you'll have the principal here as well
Okay, great.
to speak to.
Thank you.
Just so you know, from a board perspective, we've been well versed in this, we understand the community's concerns, and we're taking this very seriously to look at it. And,
I appreciate that.
we have a good district, and I mean, Gordon presents a lot of information to us, it shows us how we compare and do different things, but we always want to hear more, we want to hear things we can do better, other things we're not looking at the right way, so it'll be interesting to hear the feedback that comes from the committee of the teachers, the administrators, and the parents.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Other questions? Hi.
I just have a clarification. So is the elementary school reading program changing from Journeys to Wilson? Or is it not changing? Did I misunderstand?
Changing, I'm sorry, did you
Is
say?
the elementary school reading program changing from from
No.
Journeys to Wilson?
It's just that we found out what training our teachers had. We only had 2 teachers trained in Wilson.
Okay.
We want 8 to 10 trained in Wilson. Students don't get better in a year, so they can use it continuously throughout their grades. But what will help, these are all ads. We're going to do everything we've done. This is further training. Your toolbox as a teacher is really expanded with the knowledge of how to use level reading and communication with parents key, not only on Ames Web, but in level reading and font discipline now. And then the skills that Wilson brings to the table. And then we're going to monitor the growth of our students after investing in this training. But it'll be exciting to watch.
I'm confused because the question was, we use Journeys.
Oh yeah, that's,
and
Journeys is,
We're adding Wilson, not
the Wilson
abandoning
technique
Journeys.
is not a reading series. It's skills and a technique, Wilson. It's still there.
Wilson
Journeys,
is fine.
Wood Mifflin is still there.
Okay.
But this is in addition to it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Anything else? Okay, we're going to move on to personnel right now, and Ed, resignation.
Resignation. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of Brianna Humphrey, Family and Consumer Science teacher, effective June 30th, 2017.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Any comments? All in
Comment.
favor?
We lost Ms. Humphrey to a full-time position in the school district. Very good teacher. Disappointed to see her go.
Thank you, Bob. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Instructional, Mike?
Sure, instructional appointments. Tracy Karen, physical education teacher, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following probationary appointment. Tracy Karen, physical education appointment date August 29th, 2017. Compensation is step 0 MA. Certification is professional.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bob. Ms. Karen was a .8 teacher last year in phys ed, and now she's been extended to a full-time, and we hired another person. And last month, we hired Brandon Loomis as the point, so that's where that came in. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bob?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following probationary appointment for Lindsay Kushner Moses, tenure area reading, August 29, 2017 to August 28, 2021, step A, MA 30, certification pending.
Your second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Lynn, Family and Consumer?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointment. Rosemary Messina, Family and Consumer Science, August 29, 2017, Step A, MA, .6 position, certification permanent.
Thank you, Lynn. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Mike. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Carrie, English?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Board of Education hereby approves the following leave replacement of Victoria DiPierno in English, appointed on August 29, 2017, expiration date June 22, 2018, compensation step A, MA, and her certification is initial.
Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Ed?
I'm curious if that appointee happens to be here in York.
Congratulations and welcome. Are there any other appointments here? Okay.
Can I ask a question on the appointments?
Technically, it's not the time unless it's a piercing question, like, wait till the end because we haven't had the question and answer period at the end.
You do have a question answer period?
Yes.
I'll wait till
Okay, thank you. All right, we just want to get through the other appointments. Non-instructional, sorry, I interrupted Ed. Go ahead.
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following leave replacement appointment. Jacqueline Wilkin, elementary as a leave replacement, appointment of August 29th, 2017 through June 22nd, 2018, step A, MA, and permanent certification.
Good. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Any comments?
I'm just abstaining, please.
Thank you, Bob. Any other comments? All in favor?
I just-
sorry.
Not specifically about this, but may answer a question. Since January of this calendar year, the district has 7 retirees, and we've hired 6 people. So it just kind of gives you an idea, there are 6 people hired, 7 people, we're hopefully saving a slot there as we move forward. That was all.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? All in favor? I don't think you can vote, huh?
I got so excited.
Yeah, I saw that. So that would
So
be
excited.
5-0.
Don't count
Thank
him.
you. Carried. School district aides, Mike.
Sure. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments. Christine Betancourt, current substitute aide Catherine Aiello, Lori LaForge, Lee Henry, Kimberly Marcus, and Tracy Santoro as school district aides. Compensation step 1, appointment dates as listed.
Thank you, Mike. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Coaches, Bob?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the following appointments. Jamie Siskin and Matt Armstrong in the areas of middle school cheerleading coach and varsity football as listed.
Second. Thank you, Lynn. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Lynn, advisors?
Elementary School Club Advisors, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following elementary co-curricular clubs and appoints the persons listed below as advisors for 2017 and 18 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Terry?
Sure. Middle School Club Advisors. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following middle school co-curricular clubs and appoints the persons listed below as advisors for the 2017-18 school year.
Terry, second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Ed, high school?
Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the following high school co-curricular clubs and appoints the persons listed below as advisors for the 2017-18 school year as listed.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Mike, at special ed?
Sure. Committee on Special Education resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education has no objections to the following special education recommendations and approves the authorization for the funds to implement special education programs and services consistent with such as listed.
Second?
Thank you, Lynn. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. On to action items, business. Bob?
Professional athletic training services resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent. The Board of Education hereby authorizes the assistant superintendent for business to enter into an agreement with professional athletic training services for the 2017-18 school year.
Second.
Thank you, Lynn.
I have a question.
Okay.
Last year at the end, Scott Ray had mentioned that we had a tacit understanding that we would have the same trainer, is that correct?
Yes.
It was great.
It's
It's really,
We had switched over from hiring our own athletic trainer to this contract with this professional company, but we did have the same trainer all through the year, and he got to know the kids really well. They loved him, and we are sure that he'll be back with us, so that's a very comforting thing for us to know for our athletes. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Lynn, Dassa?
Dignity Act coordinators. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby appoints the following individuals as Dignity Act coordinators for the 2017-18 school year. Elementary school, Elizabeth Hahn. Middle school, Chris Howe. High school, Matt Dyroff and Frank LaBianca.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Carrie, breakfast?
Sure. Breakfast lunch program. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Board of Education hereby complies with the federal SED policy requirements for the administration of free and reduced price meals for the 2017-18 school year.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Ed, printing?
Printing donation. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby acknowledges the Mount Sinai Booster Club and the Mount Sinai Teachers Association for their contributions toward the printing of the school district calendar.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. That's that pretty red calendar we all get every year. We're very appreciative to the boosters and the teachers for contributing toward that. Thank you.
My comment also is to thank boosters and the Teachers Association for their donation towards the printing.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Mileage, Mike?
Sure. Mileage rate resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of the Board of Education hereby establishes the mileage reimbursement rate for staff when using their personal vehicle to be as per their particular bargaining unit agreement for the 2017-18 school year.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ed. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Transfer of funds, Bob?
resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approves the transfers of funds in the amount of $300,000 from the district workers' compensation reserve fund to the district's EBLAR fund.
Second?
Thank you, Lynn. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Lynn?
Obsolete equipment. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby declares the following items as obsolete and further authorizes disposal as listed.
Second. Yes.
Oh, thank you. The bulk of those netbooks are going to Virginia Armstrong's organization in Africa. Ginny was an English teacher in Mount Sinai for many years and now does volunteer work over in Africa, bringing programs here and bringing goods and services back, which is a wonderful thing.
And for school in Kenya.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay. All right. So that was great. We finished it all up. Now's the time where you may ask a question regarding not just the agenda, but school district in general. We can help you out. Okay. You good?
I got a rule.
Stop.
Everybody has a boss, right?
Hi.
Hi, I actually have two comments, kind of questions. My name is Renee Massari. I have a current incoming fourth grader and incoming first grader. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on stage for my son who just completed kindergarten and had a fabulous year. The comparison between the current full-day program to what my older son was exposed to in the half-day program, you can't even compare. I mean, him and his peers just had a tremendous year, so I thank you all for that.
Great.
And my second comment is I was actually wondering if you guys would be willing to explore maybe if we had the space to bring fifth grade back to the elementary school. I don't see a single benefit academically or socially of having them in the middle school. From what I understand, it was always just a matter of having the space at the elementary school. I believe that there's at least one current empty classroom, maybe more, and I believe that there's also a projection and already declining enrollment over the last few years in the district. So I would really appreciate if anybody could take the time and maybe run those numbers and look into seeing if that's even a possibility for next year or in upcoming years. And if it is, if you guys would be willing to maybe having some of those community meetings that we did for when we transitioned to full day K, because I recognize that if we did that, I'm sure some of the class sizes may grow. So just to be able to hear back from the community if that's something that we all would like to happen or not. I haven't seen the current teacher contract, but I don't think that the numbers for class sizes have changed. I know that currently, well, not currently, but the previous contract, grades 2 through 4, the class sizes were up to 28. I don't think we're at that at any grade, at any classroom, which, like I said, I don't really know if ideally we would want to be, weighing whether it's beneficial to have that or to bring fifth grade back. Ideally, myself, and I know many of the parents that I speak with, would love for the fifth graders in this district to have the same transition that most 99% of the districts on Long Island have, where we house them in the elementary school where the building that they are familiar with, but even keeping the same program where they transition from classroom to classroom and get exposed to that before going to a whole different building then also having to change classrooms for the first time. And I think everybody would agree that even having 10-year-olds in the same building as 13-year-olds is very drastically different and just socially exposing them to that. I'm a guidance counselor, so I'm very in tune with the socialization of kids. And I think giving 10-year-olds that responsibility and expectations, I've seen it through many of my friends' children who live here. Many of them don't excel. It's kind of like they almost feel deflated because it's difficult for them to handle those responsibilities that are expected of our current fifth graders, because many of them are treated like middle schoolers, where ideally they aren't. We just don't have the space, or we didn't have the space for them at the elementary level. So I would appreciate if someone could just run those numbers and explore if that's even a possibility at this time.
Well, we cheated and spoke before the meeting. I think we constantly think about getting the fifth grade back. Every time I observe it in middle school, But I did observe those teachers, and the nurturing environment does continue in the 5th grade from what I observed when I saw every class. And we have our strongest ELA and math teachers in the 5th grade to help our kids. I'm very pleased how that goes.
Good.
I'm not going to name them, but they're outstanding. So without their space, and their board members here have greater history than I think we'd all like to have them back. It's going to take a lot more than one classroom. But in the meantime, what we have to do is make sure that the nurturing continues in the 5th grade and doesn't drop because it's moving to another building. I know that's your concern. So not only that, the communication between, articulation between the principals and even the teachers. I'm hoping that our 4th and 5th grade teachers meet in ELA and math. So it's aligned and contiguous moving into the new school. But until then, and there's nothing wrong with what you're saying, you're right. I consider them 5th graders. I'm an old school guy. I'd like to see 6th grade back.
Me too.
If we have the room.
I'll be back next year.
There are a lot of studies done about that too.
Yeah,
And I have concerns about 9th graders being in high school.
me too.
But right now, because of space and the cost of building, which is outrageous, we'll have to do the best we can and try to remember that that's elementary school still in another location. That's why I'm glad that our teachers are being trained together, not separately. Over the summer was K to 6, and Tuesday's training is K to 8.
Good.
So they'll be trained together. We're making the effort while we have to have this. And I mentioned to you, I was hoping our class size would stay down, but as Linda and Maureen know, because the elementary school staff, due to asbestos abatement, were with us in DO and the principal. It looked like a white sale at Macy's this week, with parents registering and signing up. Again, a mom with 5 kids alone, and our grades getting bigger. I asked, they didn't have it calculated today. I will send the board the numbers tomorrow, first thing. I'm praying that we can handle it with current staff. I'm sure the board is too, because we didn't budget for it. But even on my way out this afternoon, I told you a former student graduated in 95. A former centering student came in with a 3rd grader telling me she's tried to move here for 3 years, and couldn't find the house. And she's so happy to be here now. We have a person leaving the district because they couldn't get housing and moving in with a relative because, as Bob pointed this out before, that he spoke to a realtor who said, our house in Mount Sinai sell in 3 to 4 weeks. People are not ready for that. But evidence this week alone, people want to be in Mount Sinai. That's for sure.
Even more so if you bring 5th grade back.
The reality of it is there's a historical reason that had nothing to do with education. There were misjudgments made. There was to be another school built on what is Heritage Park. Part of that park was supposed to be school property. It didn't come to fruition. And I think decisions were made thinking it was going to happen, and next thing you know, this is why it's always important to look at what you do now. Here we are 20 years later talking about it. The district office, all of those rooms were kindergarten. That was the kindergarten rooms when we were a feeder district. Real consideration has to be made to the educational need of where the children are. And it's not just what the student population is. Let's be real, we're not buying portables. That's from our time. Remember the portables? Stuff like that. But, there's alternatives that I would urge the board to look at, because it's a fallacy that have elementary students up there, and as much as all the efforts you've put in, all the efforts that very good teachers do, you are correct in what you said at the beginning. The kids are housed in what is otherwise a junior high school. I know I'm dating myself by using that term, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And how would we move them back? And I'm not sure if we're thinking about it sufficiently. And the dynamics of how to do it. There's room in the DO. We move everyone down. Does the district office move to the middle school? If there's room. I I think we have to look at it, because there's no educational benefit for them to pay. It's just rent.
I agree. I think developmentally, fifth graders, 10-year-olds belong in elementary school. When they opened this building in 1979, I was working here, and the fifth and sixth graders were all housed on that side of the building, separate and apart, and now that's all changed where, they're upstairs, but they still have so there's a lot of interchange that I think is a little too much for a 10-year-old. And thank you for starting this conversation, because up until you mentioning it, nobody has really mentioned it to me personally, or I haven't heard it brought to the board. So sometimes we need people like you to start the, full day K conversation, or the moving the fifth grades back, and I think it's certainly worth a look and see.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming and bringing it to our attention. Okay, Les. I feel like we're in the living room, we should be chatting. Anything?
Everybody's happy?
Because we're going to adjourn if we don't have anything else. All right.
I want to thank you all.
Thank you so much for coming. See you in September and back to school night then, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Adjourn to executive session.
Thank you, Ed.